Hello and welcome to this BioProcess International Ask the Expert webcast. I'm your host, Leah Rosen, the online editor for BioProcess International. Before we get started, just a couple of notes. This webcast is being recorded and will be made available for replay in the multimedia section of our website. We've muted the audio lines, but we welcome you to type in your questions for our speaker in the chat window on your screen. After the presentation, we will begin the question and answer portion, and I will ask our speaker your questions from the chat window. Your questions in the chat window will only be visible to myself and our speaker. So thank you for joining us today. It's now my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Antonia Guerra from Thermo Fisher Scientific.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you so much for attending our webinar on new digital tools to enhance raw material verification. As Leah mentioned, my name is Antonia Guerra, and I am a global digital leader at Thermo Fisher Scientific, responsible for building and supporting the execution of digital strategy by the digital science team. So today I'll be giving an overview of our newest digital product, Virtual Truescan RM, as well as sharing an exclusive preview of TrueAudit with some time for Q&A at the end. But before we get started, we would like to learn a little more about you to tailor the webinar. So we are going to kick things off with our first poll question. So the question is, are you familiar with Truescan RM? Yes or no? And while we're waiting for you guys to answer the question, a few fun facts about Truescan. It's a handheld instrument which weighs less than 2 pounds and provides fast and accurate material identity verification with non-contact analysis. We're going to keep the poll open a few more seconds to get a few more responses. Those that are not familiar with Truescan, we can certainly reach out with some more information if you're interested. So I think we've more or less got everyone's response. And actually really fantastic to see so many of our listeners are familiar with Truescan. Now let's get everyone familiar with Virtual Truescan. So Virtual Truescan is a web-based application on Connect, which is Thermo Fisher's cloud, and it's accessible from any laptop, iPad, and even a mobile phone. It uses the algorithm from the Truescan and processes virtual samples against methods and/or signatures for method validation, specifically selectivity and run analysis testing. When it comes to method validation, customers can experience some of the following challenges. It's often something which is performed by someone with a specialized role who's not necessarily based at the production site. There's also a trend of an increasing number of new raw materials being introduced into production, which requires physical material and an instrument in hand to validate the method. When method validation is not done at the production site, shipping samples can be costly as well as time-consuming, sometimes leading to delays which prevent materials from being released into production. So what does this look like with VTR? First, when a new material arrives at the site, you scan it with a Truescan. Then you simply send those files to the appropriate colleagues where method validation is performed using VTR. Finally, the methods can be shared easily. Now I want to share a couple of comments to highlight its functionality. So with VTR, you can validate Truescan methods in the cloud without the need for physical samples or in-hand instrumentation. You can test against your full library of materials and upload methods, signatures, and runs generated on a Truescan. You can access any method or signature uploaded to your account rather than only those stored on your instruments. And finally, you can create interactive and exportable reports in both PDF and CSV formats. To perform a run analysis test, there are only 3 steps to generate a results report. First, select a method or signature. Then select one or more samples. And once you've made your selection, the app will analyze the inputs and your report will be displayed. We're now going to show a short video to show you what this looks like in the application.
In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to do a run analysis test using the virtual Truescan app in 3 easy steps. Click on the Run Analysis button to begin. Step 1 is to select a method or signature. Step 2 is to select one or many sample runs. In Step 3, you can review your selection. You can also enter a name for the test. Once you have reviewed everything, click on the Run Analysis button to begin the analysis. The web report results will display when the analysis is complete. On the top left-hand side of the page is a summary of the results, showing the number of runs included as inputs and the number of comparisons tested. Every comparison tested is listed in the left panel with the p-value result of each run against the selected reference, grouped by p-value range. To view these results on the spectral and p-value charts, click Select All, or the checkbox for the result you would like to see. The upper chart displays spectra of the runs when selected in the results list. Use the drop-down at the top right to select the signatures to display the spectra on the chart. You can zoom in by selecting the desired area of the chart with the mouse. To zoom out, double-click. The lower chart displays the p-value results. Finally, to export the report, go to the top right-hand side of the page and click Export Report, and decide which option you prefer, download or save as a PDF or CSV. For more information about this product, please visit thermofisher.com/VTR.
Perfect. So just moving on to performing the other test and what that looks like. When doing a selectivity test, it's very similar to run analysis with one additional step. So first you would select a method, then select a sample. Next, here you have the option to select additional methods and or signatures. And as with run analysis, once you've made your selection, the app will analyze the inputs and your report will be displayed. So in summary, VTR reduces the need for shipping physical materials, avoiding the associated labor and costs, potentially releasing materials to production faster. It also enables centralized method validation, allowing for sites to focus on releasing materials into production. A couple of things to point out on this slide. First, the image on the left-hand side displays an example of our interactive and exportable report, as mentioned earlier and seen in the video. And on the bottom right-hand side of the slide is the link to Virtual Truescan's product page. Through the development of VTR, we have been working closely with our customers who have shared some of the following feedback. Their confidence in the use of the algorithm in our cloud, how useful it is to take an existing scan and have the possibility to compare p-value results against multiple existing methods, and the value of not needing to ship samples, as well as quicker processing times. So now, time for another poll question. So the question now is, would you like more information on Virtual Truescan? Yes or no? So on the product page I mentioned earlier, you can find more information, including some short demo videos, one of which we just showed. And you can find one on how to do a selectivity test as well. You can also request a demo which would be more than happy to organize for you. So I'll just keep the poll open a few more seconds, see if we have any more responses before we move on to our next topic. Well, fantastic that so many of you are interested in VTR. Now we'll go on to the exclusive preview of our upcoming product, TrueAudit. So TrueAudit is also a web-based application on Connect. It aggregates audit log files that you can filter by instrument, by user, and or by dates with a search function as well. You also have the ability to generate reports with the selected data. So with the trends of increasing pressure to review audit logs regularly, increasing activity with Truescans, which create large amounts of audit log data, and increasing focus on data integrity, customers need to regularly monitor and review activities carried out with Truescan instruments to ensure compliance. Currently, audit logs are exported from Truescan as separate files each time the instrument syncs, which can be a very manual and time-consuming process. TrueAudit increases the feasibility as well as efficiency of audit log monitoring, enabling easier detection of compliance issues and reducing compliance risk to quickly troubleshoot incidents. In terms of how TrueAudit works, first you upload your files, then these are parsed and aggregated into the app, and as simple as that, it's ready to be used. Once you've searched and or selected the appropriate filters, you can save the results generated in a report format, again, in both PDF and CSV. Finally, here you can see a few visuals of what the application looks like, highlighting the filter and search features. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Before we open up for Q&A, I'd just like to mention, if you have any questions which we do not get to here, or you think of something at a later stage, please feel free to contact us at vtr@thermofisher.com for any queries related to VTR, and saleschemid@thermofisher.com for Truescan related questions. As Leah mentioned, you'll have access to these slides, so no need to jot these down.
Great. Thanks, Antonia. So the first question is, I only have one Truescan RM. What benefit does VTR have for me?
Yeah, great question. Thank you so much. So even with just one Truescan, VTR allows you to reprocess the data and explore method selectivity and specificity offline from the instrument itself. So by performing method selectivity using VTR, you can see exactly what methods are being challenged for specificity. Overall, VTR has site expansion, Truescan RM, future state utility in mind.
Since this is cloud-based, how secure is it?
Also, another super question. So we have made sure that we've taken a lot of steps to ensure the cloud systems are secure. There's a security operations guide on our website that talks about security we have built into cloud systems. And it goes into detail about the various technologies and controls that we employ to build a secure foundation, which include encryption, web application firewalls, network intrusion detection system, and a cloud compliance enforcement. We really strongly believe in our commitment to the protection of information and assets, which really aligns with Thermo Fisher's mission of a cleaner, healthier, and safer world.
Okay. Is the capability limited to the Raman platform, and what about the GMP handheld NIR?
So yeah, the capability is limited to the Raman platform, and the regarding the GMP handheld NIR, I'd need to double check on that, but I can definitely get back to you.
The next question makes me laugh a little bit. Is it possible to play with an online version of TrueAudit? I'm imagining like playing a game of TrueAudit.
What we can do is absolutely we'd be able to do maybe an online demo of TrueAudit. We are actually looking for some beta testers before we go live, so definitely would be interested to have a conversation and see if we can set something up for you to have access and as you say, very much play around with the tool.
And as far as the data in the cloud, what is Thermo going to do with the data? Can they sell my data?
So yeah, very, very important point. So first and foremost, we do not sell customer data. Thermo Fisher is committed to protecting the privacy of individuals. We do have a privacy information center on thermofisher.com where you can find our privacy standards, such as collection and use limitation. It also includes details about what information we may process, why, and how we process it. It provides details about individuals' rights with respect to information we may process about them. And if you have any further questions about data handling or our data protection policies, we do have a security team that are happy to answer any of your questions at data.privacy@thermofisher.com.
Okay. We have one more. How many samples must be used in order to validate a method?
So you can use as little or as many as you want. So I guess minimum requirements are one, but yeah.
Okay, thank you. And if we didn't get to your question, we will be sending them on to Antonia, and she'll follow up with you directly.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much to our audience for joining us, and thank you, Antonia.
Thank you, everyone, for your participation.
And as Antonia mentioned, the recorded version of this webcast will be available for on-demand viewing on BioProcess International website. As a registered attendee, you'll receive a follow-up email providing you with a direct link. We look forward to having you join us at future Ask the Expert webcasts. Look for those announcements in your inbox. Goodbye.